Welcome, welcome, welcome. Episode 7, baby.
7 of 700, you know what I'm saying? Every time.
I was just thinking 7-Eleven. I don't know why.
7-Eleven.
I grew up with 7-Elevens near me. Anyways,
Well, we got some fuel tonight, man. This
yeah,
is my
we
third
do.
Cup.
Welcome to the Closer's Mindset, episode 7. And today,
Caps and Lynch.
Caps and
bringing you-
Lynch here to bring it to you. And we're going to talk about exactly what the title is. Closer's Mindset, the mindset. The whole idea of why we even started this podcast, this movement, this voice of the road warrior, of the in-home salesperson, is because of this whole idea of having that right mindset, having that right way of being and learning and putting yourself in a better perspective. So I think today is a huge episode.
It's been culminating to this because I feel we've been going about all these different topics, and now we're like, by the way, boom, this is what the podcast is about. It's about sales, but if you didn't catch it, Closer's Mindset, we chose that name for a reason. That's the basis, the foundation of all.
So it's real interesting. I looked up the meaning of closer and the definition in the dictionary, according to Google and whoever Google uses. A person who is skilled at bringing a business transaction to a satisfactory conclusion. Right? That's pretty much in the essence of a closer, right?
It is, yeah.
We're just going to do it today.
You know what I like about your definition? How do you phrase it? Where it's, say that one more time, and I'm going to add what you do, which I like better than that definition right there.
Okay. A person who is skilled at bringing a business transaction to a satisfactory conclusion.
To its natural satisfactory conclusion. You always talk about this is just the natural conclusion.
It's a natural
closing.
conclusion to a masterful presentation.
Yeah.
And that's not my quote. I can't take that. I
Okay.
forget whose it is, but I won't take. Love the quote. I'll always use it and steal it all day long. Now, here's what the closer meaning is, right? That's what the meaning is. And I also looked up mindset, what the meaning of the mindset is. So it's the established set of attitudes held by somebody. So if you take closer, the person who has the established set of attitudes held, proper attitudes held, and they're skilled in bringing that business transaction to a satisfactory. So you have to have the right attitude and be skilled with those attitudes and use those to influence the subject that you're in front of. That's why
Right.
you have to have the right mindset.
Or if you're like me, you start with your mindset and become skilled.
Yes.
You're green, but you have the mindset. Like it's all predicated on that in order to become a closer. And then once you're closing, you have a closer's mindset. You have the mindset before you're ever a closer. That's just the fruit of the mindset.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it, right?
Or
And I don't mean like in a bad way, fake it till you make it, but I mean as far as the sense of thinking that you're good, being that you're good,
Yeah.
and having that attitude, even though you're new or you're green at it, is the best thing you can do.
Yep.
Because you may not have it down or be skilled enough, but if you go in there with the right confidence and at least just follow the path of it, you'll be successful.
what I love about the word mindset is that it's like, and it says it in the definition there, but set your mind. That's your choice.
You're given a choice on everything. You're given a choice how you want to be when you wake up. You could wake up pissed off, you get in a fight with your loved one, anything could happen, but you have that choice. You
Yep.
could choose to react to whatever situation is there. So you can be reactive or proactive to any situation. And I'm not here to sit there and say, oh, well, you got to be proactive. Don't give me that bullshit, okay? We all have bad days. There's plenty of times when my wife's pissed me off in the morning and I can't get out of the bad mood and I can't kick it. And it's something stupid that I'll get over, maybe or maybe not, because I think I'm right. Most of the time I'm not, but I just think I am. I've been there. More and more lately, though, in life, I'm less there because I choose to clear that out, and I understand that, it's all a way of being. You know what I mean? It's all a way of what I choose.
Choose,
Yeah.
choice,
Yeah.
set, action. Like that's so critical to understand that's a choice. If you're not closing, it's coming from your mindset and you're choosing that mindset. And
You have a choice to pitch that job, right? You
Yeah.
have a choice to show up on time. You have the choice to be ready. You have the choice to ask one more time for the deal. You have
Yeah.
a choice to give the entire presentation, to doing every step that your boss told you to do. You have all those choices. You could choose not to too, right?
Right.
And sometimes I see, I see in other reps, they choose to do the minimal thing, right? think we were talking earlier, like
Yeah.
even bringing a product in.
Bring your sample in.
Yeah, like bring your sample. What the hell? You're not bringing a
What-
sample.
what
How
is
can
your
you sell
job?
without a sample?
What? How?
I think they're that good. Look, I've only known a couple in this business, and I've been in it for a long time. All right, this guy I remember that so good, and he could come in with a flyer and sell it. Okay, but there's only a few like that.
Right.
All right, I'm not one of those. I got to bring in everything, and I got to do everything. And even if I don't need it for the presentation, I still have it there in case, because each and every person's a little bit different. So the information I'm going to give to customer A is going to be different than customer B, because customer A is going to interpret information differently than customer B.
And they have a different reason you're there.
Yeah,
Different need, different solution to the problem.
different values,
Same
everything.
product.
Yeah, same product.
Same product.
Same exact product. See,
Yep.
the product doesn't change.
Right.
All and your presentation doesn't change. All the changes is some of the nonverbals and verbals, how you communicate that, what pace you deliver, and that's all about having that right mindset going in there, and also your passion, your energy. We talked about energy, right?
Yeah.
That all plays into it. So having the right mindset, and there's some out there that would say that that mindset, that's all bullshit, right? It's all bullshit. This whole mindset thing. Have the right mindset. You can't do this. You can't do that. I don't know if I really agree with that.
Well, that's someone's mindset too.
Yeah.
And I would love to look at their numbers at the end of the month. You know what I mean? Are they getting by? Maybe they're naturally good, so they're okay numbers.
That's their choice.
But that's their choice.
That's what I kept thinking.
Yeah.
That my thought was that's their choice to choose to think that way, and if they choose to think that way, so be it.
Let me tell you
Right?
something. When I started at my company back in old Minnesota, right? There were a couple guys there that had been around for 10 years. One guy had been around 2 years, and the other guy 10 years. And I remember saying to them, like, ride-alongs and trying to, like, learn the industry and stuff, like, tell me about, like, the income of this and how this works and commission. This is my first commission job. I don't understand any of this. And like, well, yeah, blah, blah, I work this much. I make about this many sales, 70 grand a month in sales. And last year I pulled in about 60, 70K. And I was just like, that's it. Like, is that all I can do in this industry? Like, really? I thought it was more, And I'm looking at, there's one guy at our company, like, excelling. I'm like, is he just naturally good? And I'm new. That's part of, like, what I think I can offer to this conversation for the newbies especially is getting into that mindset like that. But back to the story, my first couple months, I doubled what they were selling easily. And I was brand new.
Why?
Because my mindset was different.
What do you mean by that?
I had higher expectations for myself.
Tell me more.
I didn't have a lid. I didn't have expectations for myself that I'm gonna get to a minimum level, but it feels high, or a goal or what. Like, my bosses give me goals every month. They're so low, dude. I beat my goal last month by like 320%. Okay, seriously, that's what it was. But that blew my mind. And those guys, when COVID hit, I think it was they were let go. But I think because the owner kind of also realized we have some new guys here with an actual mindset to sell. That's our job, man.
If you're not passionate about sales, get out. If you're not passionate about sales, hear me now. Get out. Don't be in this. And to be in this type of sales, especially this sales, okay?
Right.
So I should probably be a little bit more direct with it, because the people I'm talking to on this right here should be the ones that are the road warriors, the ones going into the home. First call closers, right? One call close. It's the in-home business, the home improvement business typically.
Yeah.
It's where I came from. If you don't have the right skin in the game for this, you're not going to make it. You can't just have a mindset. You got to have a closer's mindset.
Right.
And you have to know that you're going to have to prep yourself to be this way in order to make it in this business. Because I've seen way too many people come into it and get eaten alive. I mean, eaten alive, because their head gets screwed up. They think too much.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, thoughts are a wonderful thing, and they are a horrible thing at the same time, because you can think yourself out of a deal. You can go to that lead and prejudge all you want and think all these horrible things about it, or you could just play it all out in your head without even knowing. Or worst thing, you go look it up on Zillow or Realtor and try to judge it and look at the house ahead of time and 6 ways to Sundays how you're gonna go about this, or why am I going here? Why do all that? You lose everything. You lose the fun and joy out of it for me.
That mindset right there takes you out of the flow. Like, I never go to Zillow, aside from checking like the date to the home and things like that. Never go to Zillow. certainly I don't want to even see a picture. Don't show me a picture. I don't want to taint my mind on what this could be. I don't want to know what neighborhood it's in.
I know it's very interesting. I was listening to a sales recruiter the other day, and the sales recruiter said they don't do Zoom calls or anything. They just listen to them on a thing. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? You don't know what these people look like? Like, no, I want to be 100% unbiased. And I'm like,
Yep.
that's so cool. Because as soon as you see somebody, you're going to judge them. It's interesting when I hear people say they don't judge. The biggest lie. Look, there's not a person, and you're on this call now. You can sit there and type below. I'm sure we'll have the comments section. You're probably telling me I'm wrong. But everybody judges.
We're judging all the time.
We're all judging. We all judge. You can say my grandmother judges, okay? And she's a sweetheart.
It's not necessarily like I'm judging that this microphone's working. It's just we make judgments all day long to survive and get through the day and to thrive or whatever. It's a human experience to judge.
Oh, yeah. And we do positive, negative. We're always judging up and down. Whether we want to admit to it or not. We do. It's okay. Look, the day I don't judge, and I've tried to be very in any way, shape, or form, not to look at anybody in any way, but it's difficult at times. So, I just got to clean and clear my head. And that's another thing about this. In this closures mindset, one of the biggest things when you're going to that lead, all right, let's just say you have a 12 o'clock appointment. At 11 o'clock, that 11 to 12, that's prep time. That's game time, baby.
Yeah.
So I relate a lot to closures mindset to sports and sports mindset, okay? Because there's a difference between your minor league and your major league, especially with baseball. Baseball's a great analogy. I think it's one of the best for what we do because it gives you the averages, it gives you the batting average, what we do for batting average, right?
Yep.
All right. How does that baseball team get better? They do what?
Practice.
No way. Get out of here.
Spring training.
No. They prep for the games that they're going to play, right?
Yeah.
So many times I don't see closers prepping. If you're a closer, you're prepping. What, are you going to go in there to practice? Or you're going to go in there to play the game. So prep before it. Know what you're going to do ahead of time before you do it. Now this is my phrase. Know what you're going to say, how you're going to say it before you say it. Yep. So anytime you're going into that home, know what you're going to say, how you're going to say it before you say it. Have pre-positioned questions. Have yourself set up. Role play it. I got a question for everybody listening to this podcast. Go ahead and answer. Who's actually recorded themselves in one of their presentations? Have you ever recorded yourself?
I never have.
Interesting.
I never have.
Interesting.
But I've heard that, and I've chosen not to.
Chosen not?
Because I'm like, I don't know where to put the phone with recording and in your pocket
Sounds like
or
excuses
your pocket.
to me.
It might be.
Excuses to me.
Yeah, I know.
I tell you what, I didn't do that, but I did have to do this, which taught me the same thing before the recording. So I had to present to a blind person before. Okay.
Yeah.
And that teaches you very different because the communications are completely different.
Yep.
It taught me completely different. And then vice versa, I had to present to a deaf person.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I had to write out my entire presentation.
Yeah.
That was before all the recording. It was very easy to get to. So you just had this big little, my day, since I'm a little older than you, and I'm not that old. My recorder's the size of my cell phone now, right? Those are the recorders back then. It wasn't just hit record on your freaking cell phone. So we had to write out. That's another good one. You write out your presentation because, again, that's practicing.
Honestly, when I first started, that's everything I did was we wrote out step one, wrote it out. And then once you know it, like, obviously it's not conversational. If you, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I am here. You know what I mean? You don't read it that way. You learn it so that you're prepared in the home.
And another key part of doing that and knowing that is to give you the confidence, because that's one of the big. So I'm always curious on top 3 mindset traits, or top 5, whatever you want to say. So I'm gonna go with top 3. And my top 3 always changes. It goes from like this one, this one, this one. So if I had to ask you, Caps, what's your top 3? If you had to pick only 3, there's a lot more than 3.
Mindset traits.
But if you had to pick your top 3 for you, and there's no right or wrong.
I know. I'm just thinking, put me on the spot here. If you know your 3, go ahead, and I'm going to think of my 3. Unless we got a second of silence here. There we go.
I'm not that good at that Jeopardy song, but it was good.
I don't have individual words as phrases. Okay for this?
I'll
no limits.
I'll define it. Okay, so no limits. Right? So that's one. No limits.
Like the moment you.
So if there's no limits, that's just driven. Okay, because you're driven. Okay, so driven's one.
Yep.
And that's that. I great trait. Okay, what else? Two more.
I think
What comes to you?
humble, man.
Humble. Okay.
In the sense of, that listening portion is what gets me the sale every time. And I've sat with salespeople on ride-alongs and things like that when I was new, and I'm fairly new, but following these guys around, they don't shut the hell up. They just talk. The customers try to say, well, I kind of actually like that color right there. Well, let me tell you why you don't like it right now. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like talking. So listening gets me a sale every time. So humble and, caring is a part of that, or just like actually caring.
I got you on the spot, don't I?
Yeah, I know you do.
Ooh.
I'm just trying to think of what makes you, and that.
What makes you?
Well,
three.
That was a compliment toward you. But,
Me?
yeah. So what do you got? Driven, humble, and I bet people at home are just like,
what is wrong with this?
This word, that word. You know what I mean?
They're listening like 10 different things.
Yeah.
I'm listening 10 different things. I'm like, dude, is this guy not having?
I'm trying to, because I want to make sure it's like truly my list. Like
you can come back and change it after I'm done. You just can't use mine.
Yeah, just relentless, man. Like you
relentless. I like that.
Relentless. Okay. But I guess tied for that would be like no ego. You got to be able to take a beating, dude.
You can only pick 3, dude.
Okay.
There's 20 of them probably.
Oh, yeah.
You got to pick the top 3. They change up for me all the time. I just changed one of my top 3.
While I was talking?
No.
Okay.
Not while you're talking. No. I've had this one in there. I like these, though.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. So my top 3. Confidence.
Yes, absolutely.
Passion.
Yes.
Self-awareness. My third one I just changed was self-awareness. And what I mean by that, why that is one of the most important mindsets, is self-awareness of yourself, of knowing and that you can get better each and every time. If you have that self-awareness and that kind of total acceptance and total responsibility to your craft and what you do, you will thrive in this business. If you can accept that there's always a way to make the sale, and I mean truly accept, no bullshit, no BS. Don't give me this dumb shit you want to say about your lead. I don't care what it is. I was in a $30,000 house. Okay.
What's your point?
I was this. The roof was falling in. Okay. All this other stuff. I get that. But you have to have that mindset that I go, what could I have done differently to sell that person? I don't mean like taking advantage. No, I need to get this done. Help them get whatever they need to get done. But they called you out. They didn't call you. They're going to call somebody else.
Right.
Now, if it's different, if you're just getting there and you're doing cold calling, that's a different story. We'll get into that. But most of the time, most companies now, a lot of them are call-ins. Some of them do canvassing and a few other things, but that's probably 10-20% of your leads.
Right.
Some markets, there's a little bit more, and it's a lot more cold calling. We'll go down that avenue if we get asked. But typically, they're asking them to come out, period.
100%. I was watching a show the other day, and this baseball player, to your kind of analogy there, I don't know if I agreed with him. I get it. He was talking to another guy who wasn't a baseball player at all, and the guy asked him, tell me about what's it like to get up there and bat and all that, like the mindset of that. And this guy's like a rookie, and his answer was, baseball is the only sport where you can fail 70% of the time and still make it into the Hall of Fame. I
say it all the time. I love that sign. Yes. So at this, and that's something that I fall into that, and that's the ability to have that relentless, dude, tenacity, resiliency. These are all the same words, okay?
Yep.
Because you have to have and be relentless to be able to get back up there in front of that same pitcher a third or fourth time, okay? It's the 9th inning. All right, Caps, 9th inning, you're up. All right? There's 2 outs. You're down. All right? You're down right now, 3-2. You got a runner on third. There's already 2 outs, and here's this pitcher. Oh, and he already did 2 strikes on you. Got 1 left.
Right.
All right? Ooh, now what do you do? I mean, that's that closer's mindset, right? That's that mindset there. But again, going in there knowing that, guess what? I'm still going to hit this guy. So odds are in my favor because, he already struck me out those times. I got to hit it this time.
Right.
There's no way I can miss it. Or you can say, man, I hope I hit it. And this is one of the things for me. So mindset for that, I hope where it drives me nuts. Ooh, I'm not a big fan of hope.
If he had been allowed to elaborate, because it was a show with editing and stuff, he would have said, I go to the plate assuming I'm going to hit the ball.
You think so?
I think he would have said that.
I guarantee.
Yeah. Because he's a major league player.
All the time.
So, I mean, that's the attitude. Like, you don't go in thinking, well, like, here's the difference. Mindset of a closer versus non is, I can fail 70% of the time and still be in my job. That's not a closer's mindset if you stop there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you stop there, you're giving yourself the permission to fail. But if you give yourself the permission to fail with a resilient mindset, it's not that you're failing and it's okay. It's that you're always striving to be 10 for 10.
Always.
Always. If you're listening right now and you've allowed yourself to be okay with not making that sale, something's off, man. You got to like flip the switch.
Yes. 100%. Always. You have to have the goal and the whole kind of like thought pattern of really getting into and getting involved with the idea of having the right mindset, of the right attitude, I guess you can say. You know, this whole positive attitude thing. I play around with that sometimes. Sometimes I like the positive attitude thing. Sometimes I like,
PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about it. There's something to be said is that if you start putting all these thoughts in your head, that you're in a better mood.
Yeah, it's a balance because PMA, positive mental attitude, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Either way, it's like you have to have an edge to you. You know what I mean? Like there's that edge that also doesn't get walked over. And that's something I deal with because I'm a nice guy. So when I'm in homes, it's easy for me to get sold on what they're selling me. And so when I leave, I'm like, oh, shoot, I was just too nice.
Yes.
You know?
I've been too nice in the home
before. So being
before.
positive in and of itself isn't enough. There's an edge to it that's, I know my worth. I know the worth of what I'm selling. And I truly believe it's the best thing for them. And by the way, they called me. You called me to your home, into your abode, intimate setting, where you sit with family and other people because you need something. What other world do you go to the gas station like, oh, I better just check on a couple different gas stations here before I commit to this one? No, we do that. So it's just, we create objections. Customers create objections that it's no different than any other choice they're making in their life, man.
It's right.
I'm sorry. I'm just like going off on a tangent.
I love it. It's true.
You know?
I'm just sitting back listening because this is good stuff. It is. It's no different. So I'm going to
Would you feel the pressure if you were selling soda door to door? You don't see Boy Scouts like freaking out because they're selling cookies. They're going to take a beating out there. You know?
It's a Girl Scout selling the cookies. And they're amazing, by the way. Amazing.
Girl Scout cookies.
Simone's and Thin Mints. Call it a day. Call it a day.
Thin Mints all day.
Yeah. Frozen. Always frozen.
Frozen. Oh, 100%.
The best. Sorry.
That's part of being a closer.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Hey, look, we are going to have part of an episode on the go-tos for the food when you're out and about and who has the best places, right? Like finding that good hole in the wall when you got a good hour or two and you're trying to find it. But we're going to get back to this mindset thing and make sure we don't squirrel off too much. And let's list a few other things that are important for mindset and some other adjectives that we can use. So we have driven, we have humble, relentless. I said passionate, resilient, belief, which is part of being passionate, but
different than hope. Different than hope.
Different than hope. Well, and I'm not a big fan of hope, as I said. You know, you can hope all day long. You know, you can hope you can make the sale. I hope I do. I hope I do. I hope I do. Okay. Well, you can hope all day long, or you can have faith and know. That's a different mindset.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to go in knowing that I'm going to make it. Now, sometimes I might not, but I'd rather go in knowing because that's half the battle already.
Yep.
Right? I'm going with expectancy.
If
that's a great one.
Assume the sale. That could be its own podcast. Assume the sale. Not even just episode. That could be its own podcast.
Well, yeah, assume the sale. We're going to have to write that down for a podcast.
But it could be its own, we'll do it as an episode.
But I don't, see, assuming the sale is important. I'm going to even take it even further. Assuming the sale with attention. Okay? Because if you don't bring attention to it or I'm sorry, not attention, intention. You have to bring attention to the intention. Ooh, good stuff there. And the assuming the sale, they're going to go, okay, well, I thought they were going to buy. I just assumed they were going to buy. I know, but you didn't ask them a closing question. You just said, what do you think?
Right.
Well, you weren't assuming the sale. You were leaving it wide open for the worst tornado that ever happened in front of you.
Yeah.
You have to ask, at that point, you're asking very directed questions. And again, your mindset and how you go about that and what you believe you can do. That's why that confidence part goes back into it. That's why your belief in what you do. So if you don't believe in your price or your company or all that stuff, you're not going to make it. You might as well go with a different company. Because if you have to lie, cheat, or steal to get this, don't do it. There's no point in doing it.
Right.
I feel good every day when I go home and I go to sleep because I know my company's going to take care of the consumer. I know I got a good company stand behind that product, and I know they're going to install it right and do things right. Do we screw up? Sure. No company's perfect. But the good ones out there, and there's tons of good companies out there, tons of them. We all try to talk bad about each other in the home, but we're all really good people out there, all trying to make a living and earn some money. And you know what? There's enough homes for everybody. That's the cool thing about it.
Yep.
There's so many homes out there, there's plentiful. If you ever try to really look at the market share and get into details of market share for companies, there's so much room for business out there. So there'll always be business depending on how good the company is in marketing. That's really what it comes down to on that end of it.
Yeah.
And when you get good enough, you'll be able to market yourself with it. But I want to kind of go back into what you said starting off, because I think a lot of people starting off in this business are going to kind of flock to this podcast. And you said mindset really made a big difference when you starting with this, right?
Yeah.
And starting in this kind of sales environment. You grew up in sales. You did sales. You had your own company doing in the media business. A lot of sales, a lot of face recognition involved with that.
Right.
So you had to have that kind of mindset already, and already had that kind of tenacity. What was it that you felt you brought to the table that made you so successful in the beginning and has continued?
I think it's just knowing, believing you could, knowing that, and knowing I was truly being helpful. That always helps me. That I couldn't sell a crappy product to someone, to be honest.
Did you ever go without selling for several days?
Oh yeah, moving here, I went like months without it.
No. I mean, going into the home, pitching.
Oh, I see. Working, yeah.
Yeah, working. Not off. I mean,
yeah.
like working.
Yeah.
So you went like day 1, you pitched 2, right? Didn't sell. Day 2, you pitched 2, didn't sell. Day 3, you pitched 2, didn't sell. What's your mindset on day 4? And be real. Don't give us the nice, cushiony answer. I want the real where your head's at. Day 4.
mean, I'm just thinking. Recent example here. I had 2 weeks in a row where you're selling 6 figures a week, and then the next week hits and you have even one day when you're doing that and you get one day without selling, it feels like it's been eternity since you've had a sale. You agree? Like it's just like, man, when was my last sale? And you look at the papers, it was 2 days ago. But I think that you naturally gravitate toward, oh, am I even good at this? Or that's what the whispering is. But I think the whole setting your mind is, and this is what makes a pro versus a noob in this, is taking the time to realize, I can set my mind. This is a choice. It's not a natural, you might be naturally more of a salesperson, but I think being a pro is where you stop, reflect, and say, I got this. I'm going to this next home. I'm going to stick to what I know. I'm going to stick to the process. I'm going to stick to everything I've learned. And my goal every time, and this I tell myself at the end of the day, beginning of the day, during, after appointment, you name it, whether I sold it or not, did I have fun and did I treat people well in the context of doing what I know? Because if I do what I know and have fun and treat people well, I'm going to make way more sales.
I love it. So,
but it takes a second to get into.
Okay.
So especially for new people listening, things like that. I mean, the veterans are going to have their own things and whatnot. So I would show up to homes 15 minutes early just to park down the street when I was so new that every appointment I had carried such like, oh my gosh, this is so new. I gotta there was something that was like, I showed up 15 minutes early and little things. I would not drink. I would take mouthwash intentionally as a form of getting into a mindset that when I spit that out, there goes my commission breath. Just like a little thing like that.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Those are cool. So I knew a rep way back in the day, Rick. Oh gosh, what's his last name? I can't remember that. But I'll never forget Rick. Rick had we were talking about PMA, positive attitude. He had positive attitude. Dude, this guy oozed positive attitude.
Yeah.
He was always smiling, always happy-go-lucky. You could I don't think I've seen this guy get mad.
Yeah.
Maybe once we frowned a little bit and that's it. And most of the time he was always so happy and smiling and just loved life. And he's like, every time I go to the appointment, before I go, I'm driving there. I'm 15 minutes early, he goes. He has this ritual he does. And I'm driving the neighborhood, windows down, and I scream at the top of my lungs, right? Screaming at the top of his lungs. And he's like, the reason why I do that is, first off, after I do it, it makes me chuckle like you did.
Yep.
And so I was laughing to myself. I get people in the neighborhood looking at me a little bit. I think that's funny. And I just have to laugh a little bit. It separates my mind from everything.
Yep.
And I can go in there clean and clearing your head. And that's huge. That's why I said that first hour. I'm going to go back to that because we're going to wrap it up here in about 10 minutes. But I really want to go back to really getting that right mindset and that frame of mind, because you're going to go there and you're going to not sell. Remember, in this biz, 3 to 4 out of 10, you're doing really, really good. You're a rock star. Your company's looking at you going, what are you doing, kid? Right? They're going to do that.
Right.
When you sell that. 4 or 5 out of 10, you're really up there. 5 or 6, we need to talk to you after the podcast.
Call us immediately.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen.
We need another co-host.
It's always funny to me when I hear people talk about sales and they're like, hey, I closed at this percentage and that percentage. And like, they're like, oh, 50, 70. I'm like, what are you saying, like, from your demo sales or sales that canceled? And that's what you're, because if I have anybody that ever tries to tell me they close at 70, 80, 90% in a year, show me you're closing that.
Yeah.
You're closing 6 or 7 out of 10. And I've seen it done almost throughout the year, really close on a smaller ticket item. But that's some unreal numbers.
Yep.
I have a few friends that have done 45 close to fit. But that's a lot.
Yep.
In this business, and I know it's crazy to think of that 1 out of 2. That's crazy odds in this business.
Yeah,
it really is. But that's the true heart of this. You have to know going in the odds are against you, right? But that's a beautiful thing too. What I always used to say about myself when I got that third day of not selling, I would always say, well, you know what? I got the demos out of the way. This one's a sale.
There you
Every time, demos out of the way. This has to be a sale.
Yep.
Let me show you the laws of averages, the laws of numbers say, I got to sell this time.
Yeah.
And I'm going in, I'm going to go sell it. And I'd have that confidence, and I'd go in there with the belief and passion, and I would just ooze the company out.
Yeah.
And they bought into it, and they were there. They were engaged with it. And it's because of everything that I did with my mindset. And it was ingrained in me. When I started in this industry, they had these disciplines, 10 disciplines up there on this board, right? And we had to read out each of the 10 disciplines and memorize it. So for those old school dogs out there, if you know the 10 disciplines, you know where I came from. Those 10 disciplines, first one, accepting total responsibility for results. Probably the most important one, because it's all in your hands.
Yep.
If you think the leads suck, yeah, it does. You know, you're responsible for that. It feels great. Yeah, it does. All the results are your responsibility, your choice on how you feel about it.
Right.
And if you can accept those results and learn from them anytime you're out there, you'll do much better.
Yeah.
You'll do so much better with it. Let me ask you this. Let's say you're having a great day. You have a sale, right? You go through it in the morning, right? Go through, get your sale done. You finish up, you go down, and you have a bad afternoon. You had a 6 o'clock to go to. All right. You got in a big fight with your girlfriend. Okay. All right. Then you had a boss call you about something. This shit happened that day, right?
Sure.
It just, all the stuff was going bad and you're in a bad mood. And it all happens when somebody cuts you off and all of a sudden you just propelled into this bad mood. You ever been there before?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Remember like 3 days ago. No. I've been there, but and more so now I get myself out of it quicker because I realize where I'm headed down to. But back, years ago, I didn't, dude. I would get in there and it was very difficult to switch that off.
Yep.
And go into that house. And if I didn't catch that, right, I brought that energy,
house, yep.
that energy in the house. So I'll tell anybody out there, clear your head, clear your conscience, clear everything before you go in that house. Get your mindset right. If you have to scream. All right. If you have to do what Gabe did and and wash that body wash out, the body wash, mouthwash.
That'll really teach you a lesson.
Mouthwash. I don't think that's gonna taste good, bro.
You know what's even harder? As hard as the situation you just described is when you just made a sale and you're going to your next appointment. Do you get what I'm saying?
Tell me more.
Or let's just say you just made 2 sales and you're going to your next appointment. Because it's very easy to think about the same way as when you've had 2 misses and, this is numerically bound to be a sale. It's easy to take it off.
Take it for granted?
To take it for granted, to take the next appointment off. mentally, to back off a little bit. Because guess what? It takes a lot of emotional intelligence, which requires emotional energy to be in a closer's mindset. It takes energy to be in this mindset. Correct?
Oh, I got buddies that drink a Red Bull before they go to the appointment intentionally.
Yep.
That will drink a. What's your key to success? I watch motivational videos. I drink a pound of coffee, and I prep myself and get to early to the appointment. Literally, that's what they. But each person has their own
Pre-game
sauce
ritual.
that works, their own pregame ritual, right?
Yep.
It's just like, the coach in there getting ready. Well, you got to be your own coach in this business. So self-discipline is huge. Self-awareness is huge, because you really are in your own business in this, right? You have your boss that looks over you, but they just look over you for numbers. It's up to you to be successful.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this.
Here's
dude.
closer's mindset again. You set the numbers. Your boss is going to set numbers. You set the
Know
numbers.
your worth, baby.
Yeah.
Know your worth. This is why commission-only sales rocks. Right? If you don't love commission-only sales, don't listen to my podcast. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it. We don't
Or
need you.
listen and apply it to your world, whatever. But yeah.
Okay,
I mean-
you can listen, I guess. But, I mean, come on. Sales is commission. If
Yeah.
you don't have skin in the game, what's the point of
My
selling?
motivation is never my manager is going to be checking on me and wanting sales. That's never my motivation. My motivation is
What motivates you? Everybody's
personal
different.
excellence, man. My motivation is not throughout the day, every now and then, my last company, they did like a sales text, and every time someone made a sale, you text it out to the group and all that, and that was fun. At this company I'm at, they do a random email. My boss selects, depends on the job. It's not every time there's a sale, but we got a sale out there. Hey, check it out. Who's next? Every time I see that, I don't even tell my bosses about my sale until I do my end of the day report, because I don't care. It's not about what sending it out to prove to other people I'm good enough. It's about me excelling, personal excellence. Does it feel good to sell and to be the top guy in the company or whatever? Absolutely. I'm not driven by my company's standards.
It feels great.
It feels great.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Come on, we don't know it. We're
It's-
salespeople. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to poke at you a little bit on that and say there's a little ego always involved. We try not to, but we do have it. We're
Sure.
sales reps. We
Yeah.
have that. But that
I'm
it's
talking
good-
primary versus
good-
secondary. I guess.
good-hearted competition. So like the
Absolutely.
competitive I am is that I want to beat the guy next to me, but I want to see him beat me too, or her beat me too,
Yeah.
right? Just as much as I want to beat them, I want to see them beat me, and it's fun competition. We poke at each other all the time
100%.
and have fun
100%.
because that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun at this, you're not having fun with other sales reps and having a good time.
Yeah.
You're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because this game's all about a lot of
Oh,
fun.
dude, it is so fun to call you up and be like, "Hey, Lynch, I just got another sale, bro. I'm above you. What are you gonna do?" I mean, that is fun.
With the crazy scenarios, the crazy stories, like you'll never believe the house I walked into. All right, so this has never happened in my life. Let me just tell you what happened. This person did blah 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 blah, and then they did this. We could have a podcast just on the crazy stories. And by the way,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna be putting that on the website, so you can list your stories. I got like 5 in my head right now. I could tell you just off the rip
Yep.
on stuff that just I've seen personally in the house, and then I have other stories from friends that have done crazy things. But anyways,
If you're running 16 to 20 leads a week or more, that's 20 stories. Because every person, unless you're in a robot mode, every one of those is so unique and is its own story for sure, whether they go with you or not.
so coming soon, the stories.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
So-
thank you for your time today. We got to wrap
Yeah.
it up here. We don't want to keep you bored too long. We were rambling a little bit, but today's episode was all about the mindset.
Any last closing thoughts on that? Like one sentence. What's your encouragement on snapping into that?
Love what you do and do what you love. Period.
There you go.
Talk to you.
See
We're
ya.
out.